In a world that often broadcasts intimacy, some people choose silence. They hold their love behind closed doors, sharing little with the public eye, guarding the nuances of connection from scrutiny, judgment, or expectation. Privacy becomes both a shield and a space of reverence, where emotional bonds can unfold without interference. The psychology of people who keep their relationships private explores why some couples retreat from social exposure, how boundaries are drawn, and what emotional needs are being honored through discretion. It examines trust, self-protection, autonomy, and the subtle ways intimacy thrives in absence of audience. By understanding these patterns, we see how privacy can nurture depth, reduce relational stress, and allow love to exist in its most authentic, unperformed, and human form. Some relationships exist quietly, almost imperceptibly, beneath the gaze of the world. Those who keep their love private do not seek attention, validation, or social applause. Their intimacy unfolds in moments, unseen subtle gestures, unspoken understanding, shared silences. The outside observer may notice little, yet the connection is real, vivid, and profoundly present. Behaviorally, these individuals are often careful in social contexts. They avoid excessive disclosure, refrain from posting about their partner on social media, and limit discussions about the relationship to trusted confidence. This discretion is not secrecy for its own sake, but a deliberate choice, an acknowledgement that love, like a living organism, sometimes thrives best without constant observation or performance. Privacy in relationships manifests in subtle patterns. Couples may communicate in private rituals, reserve jokes or language for shared spaces, or carefully curate what others are allowed to witness. Their interactions are rich in meaning, but sparse in display. By creating these boundaries, they protect the emotional core of their connection from external influence, judgment, or interference. The initial psychological reasoning often stems from a desire for control over one's relational environment. By keeping intimacy private, individuals can define the rules of engagement, maintain agency, and safeguard against the distortions of perception. Public exposure can invite comparison, expectation, and unsolicited opinion, all of which may subtly erode trust or increase relational anxiety. Discretion allows couples to navigate connection on their own terms. Observing such couples reveals a remarkable consistency in emotional quality. There is often a heightened attentiveness, an awareness of subtle cues, and a deliberate effort to nurture closeness without relying on external acknowledgement. The absence of performance frees emotional energy to be directed inward, toward understanding, support, and the shared life of the relationship. Interestingly, private relationships are not inherently antisocial. These individuals may maintain rich friendships and social networks. The choice to keep romantic or intimate life discreet does not preclude social engagement. Instead, it reflects a prioritization of relational space, an understanding that certain aspects of connection are sacred and function best away from scrutiny. Recognition also involves observing the underlying motivations. Privacy is frequently intertwined with trust, vulnerability, and protection. By controlling what others see, individuals can safely reveal themselves to their partner without fear of misinterpretation, gossip, or judgment. It is a conscious strategy to cultivate safety, strengthen commitment, and allow intimacy to unfold authentically. Finally, these patterns reveal a subtle but profound human truth: connection does not require audience. Love is not validated by likes, comments, or public acknowledgement. It is sustained in the depth of shared understanding, mutual care, and the quiet rituals of daily life. For those who keep their relationships private, the world may remain largely unaware, yet the emotional and psychological richness of their connection is undeniable. Recognition of these behaviors is the first step toward understanding the psychology of private relationships. Observing without judgment, noticing without intrusion, one begins to see that discretion is not distance, nor secrecy a sign of weakness. Instead, it is a careful, thoughtful orchestration of intimacy, an art of safeguarding connection while honoring the profound human need for privacy, trust, and emotional safety. The tendency to keep a relationship private rarely emerges without roots. It often grows from early experiences, family dynamics, cultural norms, and past relational lessons that shape the way intimacy is expressed and protected. Understanding these origins illuminates why some people choose discretion over display. Childhood experiences play a significant role. Individuals raised in environments where privacy was respected, or conversely, where emotions were scrutinized, learn early about the value and cost of exposure. Children who witnessed conflict amplified by gossip or public judgment may internalize caution, associating openness with risk. For them, emotional safety becomes intertwined with discretion, a principle they carry into adult relationships. Family dynamics also leave subtle imprints. In households where boundaries were porous or expectations rigid, privacy can become a tool of self-preservation. Observing parents or caregivers negotiate attention, validation, and intimacy teaches lessons about relational exposure, when to share, when to withhold, and how to protect the emotional core of connection. These early models often influence the default approach to adult relationships, guiding choices about what is revealed and what is kept behind closed doors. Cultural norms further shape relational privacy. In some societies, love and intimacy are performative, expected to be displayed publicly as a measure of status or success. In others, discretion is valued, and relationships are understood as personal, sacred, and private matters. Individuals absorb these cues, consciously or unconsciously, and adjust their approach accordingly. The psychology of private relationships reflects the intersection of personal temperament with cultural scripts about visibility, honor, and social judgment. Past relational experiences also exert influence. Betrayal, judgment, or public exposure in earlier relationships can create a lasting sensitivity to scrutiny. Those who have suffered from gossip, criticism, or unwanted interference may choose a quieter path, seeking a relational space shielded from external observation. Privacy becomes not avoidance but a deliberate form of protection, preserving trust and emotional intimacy from the hazards of exposure. Attachment styles intersect with these origins. Individuals with secure attachment may exercise discretion calmly, viewing privacy as a preference rather than necessity. Those with anxious or avoidant tendencies may experience heightened sensitivity to exposure, interpreting public attention as potential threat or intrusion. The resulting pattern is a combination of internalized experience and relational strategy, where privacy is both instinctive and intentional. Technology and social media amplify the stakes. In an age where personal life is often publicly curated, individuals who value privacy are acutely aware of the consequences of exposure. They recognize that a comment, a photograph, or a shared detail can ripple beyond the immediate context, shaping perception and potentially influencing relational trust. The choice to remain discreet is a response to these environmental pressures as much as a reflection of temperament. Ultimately, the inclination to keep a relationship private is rarely arbitrary. It emerges from the confluence of early learning, familial influence, cultural context, and relational history. Each choice to withhold, each boundary established, carries echoes of past experiences and lessons learned. Privacy, in this sense, is not merely a preference. It is a deeply human strategy for preserving intimacy, safeguarding trust, and honoring the subtle architecture of emotional life. Recognizing these origins allows one to understand privacy not as secrecy or distance, but as a protective and nurturing approach to connection. It is a reflection of history, experience, and insight, a way of tending to love in a manner that feels safe, authentic, and profoundly human. At the core of private relationships lies a delicate interplay between cognition and emotion. People who choose discretion are guided by both conscious thought and subtle feelings, balancing desire for closeness with the instinct to protect, nurture, and preserve. Understanding these internal mechanisms reveals the psychology behind their choice. Trust is a foundational driver. In private relationships, individuals cultivate connection in a space where vulnerability can be expressed without interference or judgment. Public exposure can disrupt this trust, inviting comparison, unsolicited advice, or scrutiny. The mind intuitively evaluates risk, weighing emotional rewards against potential consequences, and often concludes that intimacy flourishes best in absence of an audience. Privacy in this context becomes a vessel for security. Self-protection is another significant factor. Emotional closeness carries inherent vulnerability. Individuals who have experienced betrayal, criticism, or social pressure may instinctively shield their relationship, creating boundaries to prevent harm. This protective stance is not avoidance, it is a proactive strategy, a conscious allocation of emotional energy to preserve relational integrity and maintain psychological equilibrium. Attachment style shapes the experience of private relationships. Those with secure attachment can exercise discretion without fear, recognizing it as a preference aligned with mutual respect and care. Anxious individuals may maintain privacy to manage perceived threats, ensuring that intimacy is not destabilized by external factors. Avoidant tendencies can also influence discretion, favoring controlled environments where relational dependence is moderated. In all cases, privacy interacts with attachment to regulate comfort, safety, and closeness. Autonomy and identity are intertwined with discretion. Maintaining privacy allows individuals to assert relational agency, defining boundaries that honor both partners' needs. The mind perceives exposure not merely as physical or social vulnerability, but as potential erosion of identity. By controlling what is shared, couples negotiate a psychological space that protects individuality while nurturing togetherness. Emotional regulation operates subtly yet powerfully. Private relationships allow feelings to be expressed and processed in real time without the interference of external expectation. Conflicts, joys, and vulnerabilities are contained within a trusted space, enabling reflection, empathy, and mindful responsiveness. The emotional brain is thus supported in cultivating stability, connection, and resilience. Cognitive appraisal also plays a role. Individuals continuously assess social context, evaluating the benefits and risks of disclosure, each choice to share or withhold information is a deliberate act of relational management. Privacy is not passive, it is an active engagement with the environment, a dynamic negotiation between openness and protection. Ultimately, the psychology of private relationships reflects a sophisticated emotional economy. Desire for intimacy is balanced against caution, curiosity against discretion, expression against preservation. These cognitive and emotional drivers work in tandem to create a relational space that is both secure and deeply human, where connection is cultivated deliberately, protected thoughtfully, and experienced profoundly. In understanding these drivers, one sees that keeping a relationship private is not a retreat from intimacy. Instead, it is an expression of care, wisdom, and awareness, a conscious alignment of mind and heart, creating a sanctuary for love to grow, unfold, and sustain itself quietly, profoundly, and authentically. Keeping a relationship private is both a choice and a challenge. While discretion fosters intimacy, it also invites misunderstanding from both within and outside the partnership. The very act of guarding connection can be misinterpreted as secrecy, distance, or avoidance, creating subtle tensions that require careful navigation. Externally, society often expects visibility. Friends, family, and social networks may interpret privacy as unusual or suspicious. Questions, speculation, and gentle pressure to disclose can create relational friction. Well-meaning inquiries may be experienced as intrusive, and the partners may find themselves negotiating not only their own boundaries but also the expectations of others. The psychology here is delicate. Maintaining privacy requires resilience in the face of social assumptions, balancing openness with discretion without eroding trust or generating defensiveness. Internally, tension can arise when partners differ in their comfort with discretion. One may prefer complete privacy, while the other feels inclined to share selectively. These differences can generate subtle conflict, prompting negotiation of boundaries, rules, and acceptable disclosure. Emotional reflection becomes necessary to align expectations, reassure trust, and prevent misinterpretation from fragmenting connection. Privacy can also intersect with anxiety and self-consciousness. Partners may worry that withholding aspects of their relationship will be perceived as secretive or cause miscommunication. They may question whether their discretion is justified, whether intimacy is sufficiently validated, or whether external acknowledgement is necessary for relational security. These internal doubts require reflective attention to prevent insecurity from undermining the very connection privacy is meant to protect. Digital life adds further complexity. In a world where social media encourages sharing, posting, and visibility, the decision to remain private can be amplified, scrutinized, or misunderstood. Small gestures, choosing not to post a photo, leaving a profile silent, or refraining from public comment, can be interpreted as avoidance or distance. Partners must consciously manage the interplay between online presence and relational security, balancing personal choice against social perception. Despite these challenges, private relationships demonstrate resilience. Couples develop unspoken agreements, shared understanding, and relational rituals that reinforce trust and commitment. They learn to navigate questions and expectations with subtlety, using communication and reflection to maintain equilibrium. Conflict, when approached with awareness, becomes a mechanism for growth rather than a threat to intimacy. Importantly, misunderstanding is often a reflection of external perception rather than relational reality. Observers may conflate privacy with secrecy, underestimating the depth and richness of what occurs within the protected space. Partners themselves often recognize this distinction, valuing authentic connection over public validation. The psychological insight here is profound intimacy can thrive without display, and security is not dependent on external acknowledgement. In essence, challenges and misunderstandings in private relationships are inevitable but manageable. They require conscious negotiation, empathy, and reflection. By understanding these dynamics, individuals and couples can navigate pressure, perception, and internal tension, allowing privacy to function not as isolation, but as a vessel for trust, depth, and relational vitality. Recognizing the subtle complexities of discretion reveals a profound truth: intimacy does not need an audience to be meaningful. Private relationships endure because they are intentionally cultivated, protected thoughtfully, and experienced deeply, even in the face of social misunderstanding or external expectation. In private relationships, communication takes on a deliberate and mindful quality. Without the presence of an audience or the pressures of public validation, partners learn to express themselves with intention, clarity, and care. Boundaries are not barriers but guides, defining the space in which intimacy can flourish safely and authentically. Boundaries in private relationships serve multiple purposes. They protect emotional energy, safeguard trust, and cultivate a sense of shared sanctuary. By consciously determining what is shared with the outside world, couples create an environment in which vulnerability is safe, discussion is honest, and connection can deepen without interference. The act of setting boundaries is itself an expression of respect, both for the relationship and for each individual's emotional needs. Communication within this private space often emphasizes depth over breadth, Conversations may be longer, slower, and more reflective, exploring emotions, desires, and challenges with attentiveness and empathy. Partners develop subtle cues, shared language, and rituals that foster understanding without requiring explanation to outsiders. Each gesture, glance, or word carries significance precisely because it is part of an intentionally guarded environment. The psychology behind this communication is rooted in intentionality. When relationships are private, individuals are less likely to perform for social validation and more likely to engage authentically. This reduces cognitive load, the constant assessment of how words and actions will be perceived by others, allowing attention and energy to focus fully on the relational experience. Emotional expression becomes richer, more nuanced, and attuned to the partner's inner world. Boundaries also provide a framework for handling external pressures. Questions from friends, family, or colleagues, though often innocuous, may create relational tension if not navigated consciously. Couples in private relationships learn strategies for addressing curiosity, deflecting intrusion, or politely declining to share. These interactions require negotiation, empathy, and sometimes compromise, all of which strengthen relational communication skills and mutual understanding. Conflict resolution is similarly influenced by privacy. When disputes occur, they are contained within the relational space, rather than played out in social arenas or on public platforms. This containment allows for reflection, measured responses, and collaborative problem solving. Emotional regulation is supported, misunderstandings are less likely to escalate. Privacy, in this sense, enhances relational resilience. Technology, when approached thoughtfully, complements private communication. Messaging, voice notes, or shared digital spaces can extend intimacy without exposing it publicly. The key is intentionality. Digital tools serve connection, not performance. Partners use them to communicate meaningfully, reinforce emotional closeness, and maintain relational rhythm without compromising discretion. Ultimately, communication and boundaries in private relationships are inseparable. Boundaries define the relational space, while communication animates it with depth, empathy, and presence. Together, they create an environment in which love, trust, and intimacy can flourish free from distraction, comparison, or judgment. Privacy does not diminish connection, it amplifies its quality, allowing partners to experience each other fully and authentically. In this light, discretion emerges not as limitation, but as liberation, a space in which communication is deliberate, boundaries are protective, and intimacy is enriched. Private relationships teach that love does not require audience or display. It thrives in the sanctuary created by mindful communication, mutual respect, and the shared understanding that some connections are meant to exist quietly, profoundly, and entirely on their own terms. Privacy in relationships is not merely about protection, it is also a catalyst for growth and relational strength. When intimacy is nurtured in a space free from external observation, couples have the opportunity to develop trust, resilience, and a depth of understanding that might be harder to achieve under the gaze of others. One of the most profound effects of privacy is the cultivation of trust. By limiting exposure, partners demonstrate confidence in each other's integrity and discretion. Each act of shared vulnerability, whether a secret, a fear, or a personal reflection, becomes a sacred investment in mutual safety. Over time, these small acts accumulate, creating a foundation of relational security that is both durable and deeply felt. Emotional growth is closely intertwined with this trust. Partners in private relationships learn to navigate their own feelings and reactions without performing for approval or recognition. They develop self-awareness, emotional regulation, and empathy, honing the ability to understand both themselves and their partner with clarity and compassion. Privacy allows mistakes to exist without spectacle, lessons to be learned without shame, and reflection to occur without interference. Boundaries, carefully maintained, reinforce relational resilience. By consciously defining the limits of disclosure, couples protect their space from the pressures of social comparison, gossip, and unsolicited advice. These boundaries create a psychological sanctuary where the relationship can evolve naturally, guided by internal values rather than external expectation. They offer structure and safety, allowing partners to invest fully without fear of judgment. Growth is also relational. Private couples often develop intricate systems of communication, shared rituals, and unspoken understandings that enhance cohesion. The relationship becomes a dynamic, living organism, capable of adapting to challenges while preserving intimacy. By navigating conflict, negotiating expectations, and honoring boundaries together, partners strengthen the relational architecture, ensuring that connection is resilient even in the face of change or stress. Privacy can amplify intimacy in subtle, powerful ways. Without external validation, emotional energy is directed inward, toward understanding, care, and shared experience. Moments of joy, laughter, or affection are richer precisely because they exist primarily for the participants. This focused attention fosters a sense of exclusivity and depth, where love is experienced fully rather than performed. Furthermore, private relationships often encourage autonomy alongside connection. Each partner retains individuality, pursuing personal growth and reflection while contributing to shared life. Privacy enables this balance, allowing partners to flourish independently without compromising the relational bond. It becomes a space where interdependence is cultivated thoughtfully, rather than imposed by social expectation. Ultimately, the psychology of growth in private relationships underscores a profound human truth. Connection thrives when it is respected, protected, and nurtured consciously. By maintaining privacy, couples create conditions for trust, resilience, and emotional richness that may be more difficult to achieve in public arenas. Intimacy, in this context, becomes a living, evolving force, quietly strong, deeply rooted, and profoundly human. Private relationships remind us that strength is not always visible, and growth is not always public. Some of the deepest, most enduring bonds are those carefully tended in silence, shielded from external pressures, and experienced in full presence and authenticity. Privacy, in this sense, is not absence. It is a space of profound relational potential. Some relationships are whispered rather than proclaimed, existing in quiet spaces between shared glances, gentle touches, and unspoken understanding. For those who keep love private, the world becomes a backdrop, not a stage. Intimacy is experienced, felt, intended, not performed or validated externally. In this silence lies profound beauty. The psychology of private relationships reveals that depth is often born of discretion. When couples retreat from the gaze of others, they carve a space where vulnerability is safe, emotions are honored, and connection can breathe. Here, love is not measured by applause or acknowledgement, but by the subtle resonance between two hearts navigating life together. Privacy is not absence, it is presence of the most deliberate and careful kind. There is a quiet courage in privacy. It takes intention to resist the pressure of societal expectation, to decline the performative rituals of visibility, and to cultivate connection for its own sake. It requires trust, not only in the partner, but also in the resilience of the relationship itself. Each moment shared in private becomes a declaration of commitment, a reinforcement of mutual respect, and a testament to the sanctity of intimacy. Private relationships are also spaces of freedom. Within their boundaries, partners can explore emotions, confront fears, and express authenticity without the distortions of social perception. Joy is lived fully, grief is processed gently, and conflict can be resolved thoughtfully. The mind and heart are granted room to engage fully, without the intrusion of judgment, gossip, or expectation. In privacy, emotional life is permitted to unfold naturally. Technology, public life, and cultural pressures may seek to intrude, yet the deliberate choice to maintain privacy becomes a practice in relational resilience. The act of discretion fosters patience, reflection, and empathy. It encourages partners to communicate with intention, attend to nuance, and honor the delicate architecture of trust. In doing so, love deepens quietly but profoundly, like roots extending unseen beneath the surface. There is a paradox in private relationships: their power lies in invisibility. While external eyes may see little, the relational experience is rich, expansive, and deeply human. Bonds are strengthened by shared understanding rather than social approval. Intimacy is amplified by focus, presence, and care. Privacy transforms love from a performance into a living, evolving sanctuary. Ultimately, private relationships remind us that connection does not need display to exist meaningfully. Love does not require audience, it thrives in the spaces of trust, discretion, and quiet devotion. Those who choose privacy demonstrate a subtle wisdom that some of life's most profound experiences are lived not for recognition, but for the fulfillment they bring to the hearts of those who share them. In reflection, one sees that privacy in relationships is not withdrawal, it is a cultivation of depth. It is the recognition that human connection is sacred, delicate, and deserving of care. Love, when nurtured quietly, can flourish beyond the reach of judgment, comparison, or performance. In its silence, it speaks volumes about resilience, trust, and the enduring beauty of intimacy. And so, the private couple continues their journey, not seen by the world, yet profoundly known to one another. In that quiet space, love exists fully, authentically, and timelessly, a sanctuary of human connection in its most genuine and tender form.